Hi there, welcome to English Fluency 101. I'm Kelvin. Today we're going to take a look at the words bored and boring and how to best use them in the everyday English language. Bored is how you or someone else personally feel, like how I feel, whereas boring is how you feel about something or someone else. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, yes, just to clear this up. Bored is a feeling of unhappiness because something is not interesting or exciting. It could also mean you have nothing to do. You're bored because you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs. You don't know what to do. Whereas boring is an adjective that describes something or someone who is tedious, dull, and lacking in interest. In boring, the subject is not you. It is something or someone else. Let's show some examples. It was a cold, wet day, and the children were bored. They're sitting around the house. It's raining out. They would like to go outside and play, and there's just nothing to do. So they're bored. They're bored. It was a cold, wet day, and the children were bored. Let's have another example. He was getting bored doing the same thing every day. Have you ever felt that way? You go to work, you do the same thing every day. You take this, put it in a bag, give it to the customer. Take this, put it in a bag, give it to the customer. I would get very bored doing that every day. Here's another example. I was so bored that I slept through the second half of the film. Have you ever done that? Gone to the theater and watch a movie that you were excited to see, and halfway through the film you found yourself asleep? That would be a sign that you were bored. Yes. I enjoyed my course at first, but after a time, I got bored with it. I got bored with it. He grew bored of the countryside. He looked forward to maybe going to the big city to see the lights. He grew bored of the countryside. Boring, on the other hand, remember, boring is about something or someone else. Let's take a look at some examples. She finds opera boring. She finds opera boring. Opera is boring for me too. Opera is very boring for me too. It's boring to sit on a plane with nothing to read. Have you ever done that? Gone on a plane somewhere and you don't have a book to read. You have 5 hours to go from here to there, and there's no TV to watch. There's no book to read. You've read the brochure for what's on sale from the duty-free in the little cubby hole on the back of the seat ahead of you. There's just nothing else to read. I'm sure that would be very boring too. A boring lecture. If you've ever gone to a lecture and you thought it might be something that interests you, and halfway through you decide, this lecture is very boring. Maybe I should find something else to listen to. A boring lecture. A boring lecture. The movie was so boring, I fell asleep. As you saw in the previous one, I was so bored, I fell asleep halfway through the movie. The movie was so boring, I fell asleep. You can see how you can use that both ways for the same topic. Now let's test your memory. Here's some examples. Let's see if you can fill in the blank. I was so looking forward to the show, but I found it to be so... What do you think it is? Pause the video if you want and see if you can answer it. I was so looking forward to the show, but I found it to be so boring. Yes, that's the answer. Boring. Boring. I found it to be so boring because found it to be. Found it to be. You're talking about something else. Right? Okay, let's try another one. My next door neighbor just sits on the step looking so, what do you think it might be? My next door neighbor just sits on the step looking so, what do you think it'll be? Bored. Looking so bored. He is bored. He is bored. He or she is bored. Yes. Let's try one more. If you're on a long flight, you forgot your book, and there's no movie, you might become, remember, you're talking about yourself. You might become bored. Yes, there's the answer. There's the answer. Okay, let's try one more. The cat just laid on the windowsill looking out the window. It was, you're talking about the cat. It was, what do you think it is? Let's take a look. Bored. It was bored. The cat was bored. It just looked out the window, looked at you, looked out the window. It wanted to do something. Maybe chase a mouse. That would be a good thing to do. Okay, my work is so, I do the same thing every day. What do you think it is? My work, you're talking about something. My work is so boring. Yes, boring. I do the same thing every day. Remember, we talked about that one a little while ago. When it's raining and cold outside and there's nothing to do, I get so, what do you think it is? Can you guess? Let's take a look. Bored. Yes, bored. Okay, hopefully you got a little bit out of this, and I would like to challenge you in the comments below to give me 2 sentences, one for bored and one for boring, and I promise I will check it and let you know if you're correct. Give me 2 sentences. Try not to copy the ones that we did today. Okay? So anyway, that's it for today's English Fluency 101. I'm Kelvin. I want to thank you very much, and be sure to subscribe, like, and share if this helped you to learn a little bit more English. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye for now.